It is a good course.
I'm a fan of it. We've got to play there. We'll play there. Clearly, there's someone missing.
But if we both look at the camera right now, it looks like it's a mirror image.
Twins. Joe, stand up.
We didn't. And then show me shoes. We've both got sandals on.
Didn't even plan it.
We didn't talk about this at all. You rocked up. You're dressed exactly the same as me. And I just thought, this is either going to be really good or really bad. I think it's going to be good.
Well, we need the chemistry because Jules isn't here, obviously.
Oh, Jules isn't here. We sacked him.
Yep, we did. We made the call.
Yeah. He's been shit for too long.
No. We've had enough.
He's Jules is crook tonight, so it's just me and Dan. Jules was laid out. He messaged us today. Apparently, he's shitting through the eye of a needle.
Yeah, I said take 7 gastro stops to stop it.
So hopefully he's feeling a little bit better. He'll
Actually,
be back next week.
In the back of my mind, because we've got 360 feedback soon, yeah, Joe?
Next week.
So I actually reckon, you know how Jules likes to plan? I actually reckon he's giving himself an extra week because he needs that long to plan.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It was clean. It was clinical. Like, we executed to perfection.
Now, I'd like to actually go into a few stats because, and I questioned Charlie about a month or so ago.
That is so frustrating as a fan. All you needed was an extra 2-3%.
On the podcast, you're a shit person. You're arrogant. You're obnoxious. I'm sick of it. And I reckon I've got 2 more episodes in me.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 154 of the Almost Blues Brothers podcast, part of the Blue Road Media Network and proudly powered in 2025 by Mavros Studios here in Preston, just on Hotham Street. So if you're looking to start your own podcast, hit up Mavros, Mavros Studios. Also brought to you by 3099 Jerky, St. David Dairy, and Vortep. Vortep.com.au, or maybe it's just Vortep.com. Don't know. Just Google Vortep at the checkout.
We should know that.
At the checkout, it's Almost Blues Brothers, one word. You get 10% off for any Vortep gear you want to purchase. How are you, Mum?
Yeah. You only have to ask me, so it's easy to ask you.
Obviously, Mother's Day this weekend.
Yeah, Lauren's first Mother's Day.
Yes, actually true.
Yeah,
Shout
yeah.
out to Lauren.
Really
There you go.
exciting.
Shout out to all the mothers. Happy Mother's Day to everyone that's a mother and watching.
Yeah, Ma. No, yeah.
Well, my mum.
No,
too.
shout out to my mum, even though there's no chance she's watching this. No, Lauren's first Mother's Day. So we're with the family on Saturday night. And then today I took her to Bahari. If any listeners have you been to Bahari, Joe?
No, I've heard of it.
Do yourself a favour.
Yeah, I've heard it's nice.
Okay. Now, I feel like you have your lamb, tastes pretty similar everywhere you go. The pitta.
So it's
fuck
lebo?
me. No.
What's the
It
joint?
was like a
Turkish.
I think it's Turkish off its head. Like
Where is it?
Swan Street. You know where we park? Church Street and corner of Church and Swan?
Ah, yeah, I know where it is.
There.
Yeah. I've heard the name and I've heard good things about the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing is
You went there for Mother's Day lunch
Mother's Day.
or Mother's Day dinner?
Lunch. Today.
Oh, today you went with
Yeah.
Lauren. Okay.
Getting tzatziki and dip out of a 10-month-old's hands. Yeah.
It's like crack.
No, today's been a joke with that kid. He's
done your head in?
Yeah. He's been hard to manage.
yeah.
I'm rattled today.
And you know,
I'm rattled, but I'm trying to stay calm.
The funny thing is, he's about to walk, so you haven't even hit it yet.
No, that's the problem.
You haven't
is
even hit
the
the
kid's
peak yet.
crawling. The kid's crawling and he's motoring.
You haven't hit the peak yet. Wait till he starts walking. When your son starts walking, you are going to be a broken individual.
Nah, I don't think so. I think I'll actually rise to the occasion. But he's been hard. He's been actually real hard to manage today.
That's all right. You'll have those days.
Yeah, it's good that I'm not there now, though.
This is your break. It's
My
good.
escape.
It's good.
Yeah, Joe.
Every fucking time you just can't wrap your head around. You got to ask me how my weekend was.
No, how's yours?
And you want to host this show? Are you joking? I'll leave that for next week. I've got something coming for you next week.
No problem.
In the biggest way.
Watch this. You want to see something? You want to see something?
You want to see the list? You want to see how long mine already are?
Watch
Look at
this.
that. Look how long my list is.
Okay. Watch
Yeah,
this.
already.
Listeners. All right, you can't
We're
see
talking
this.
about 360 feedback next
Just
week.
look at Joe's reaction to this. Can I zoom in? Can I show them?
No, all you need to know is you scrolled about
Look.
8 times.
Guys, here, this is what I got for my Mate, they're going down next week, something stupid. And yeah, I've lost weight.
Yeah, that's it. From last year. Yeah, we got my favourite show of the year next year. It's the best. It's actually so fun. 360 feedback. But anyway, yeah, Mother's Day. So what do I do? Oh, well, actually, yesterday it was a bit of a weird weekend for me. I went to an auction yesterday.
I know.
Didn't win.
No, it didn't.
It was a really nice house in Coburg. A little bit disappointing, but stretched.
Stop. No, fuck me, I stretched. How's this?
To try and get there.
I actually spoke to your broker.
Yeah.
And he goes to me, he goes, "Oh, how'd Joe go in the auction?" And I told him sort of what you went to. And he goes,
"Yeah."
He goes, "No, you shouldn't have gone that way."
Yeah, I was thinking about him when I was bidding. I'm thinking, oh, well, I'll put him to work if I win this. But anyway, didn't win it. It was a bit frustrating, but it is what it is. There's plenty more out there. I've set my sights to 2 weeks' time. I'm off for
you're
the last UK trip, which we'll fill you guys in at the end of this show as well.
Can we just
hold
do
on, Mother's Day as well?
Oh, okay.
Went to Werribee Golf Course, which is what we were talking about when we started the show. Had lunch there, but played 18 this morning. Didn't play my best. If I take out my 3 worst holes, which was a quad, a triple, and a triple, I would have made. I was tracking at 11 over through 15. So finished with a 97, but it could have been way better. And I think I'm on the cusp of just breaking through. A couple of things clicked today, which was nice. Mentally, not like swing wise. Physically, I'm fucking good. I'm feeling good at the moment. And then we had lunch, which was nice. So shout out to my mum as well. Happy Mother's Day. And
hey, you're forgetting. Shout out to a couple of the supporters that come up to us at the game as well.
Do you want to tell the story? You can tell the story.
One that walked over to Joe and I, completely disregarded me and goes to Joe, "Great podcast.
Really love your podcast."
But fan cams you got on there helps.
What was the response?
I responded.
And what did you say?
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Fan cams obviously does help. But if you see me, usually Dan and Jules are with me. Just give him some love.
No, the other guy did.
No, he did.
He did.
Yeah, he did. Anyway, shout out to a couple of people we ran into at the game. Speaking of, without any further ado,
let's get into it.
all right. Match report. Actually, you know what? I was going to check something quickly because North are playing Brisbane and they are up. 5 minutes to go. They're up by a goal, which is why our numbers are down right now because I reckon everyone's watching this game. But they're up by a goal, 70-64, 5 minutes to go. We will keep track of that as we go. But if we turn our attention back to Friday, it was a good night at the G. And
Great night.
Look, we're going to get into this in terms of our thoughts, but I know that we're aligned on what we thought about the game. I've heard some murmurs that, certain people weren't happy with what they saw and expected a little bit more, but we'll get into that in a minute. Final scores, St Kilda 9-8-62, Carlton 11-11, 77, 15-point winners. Goals for the Blues, Binns, Lord, White with 1 each, Youngie with 2, Kerno and Mackay combining for 6 with 3 each. Couple of injuries. Gov went to hospital.
Yeah, for a chest.
For a chest is all we know.
Yeah.
Cowan had some hamstring tightness, so I don't think it was a tear or a strain. I think it was just tight. Precaution brought him off. Obviously, Cooper Lord came in to replace Gov and played a big role in the end. 66,000 at the G, and like I said, I thought it was actually a really, really gritty and good win.
Yeah, I agree. If you look at that game with how much, I think a lot of our supporters were looking at that game as like a must or like do or die. So I think going into it, the amount of expectation on the side, plus then, you're playing a Ross Lyon team. Mm-hmm. And I think character and grit is the best way to describe that win. And I think it's something that we haven't seen from our side in a while, is just that grit to grind the result and then swing it our way. I think a lot of the times you would have seen us sort of drop and fall and lose by 20. No?
Yep.
To be honest, yeah.
There so many times in the past we would not have seen out that game.
Correct.
No.
And I think especially in the second quarter, where towards the end we had 3 players getting tested and assessed and stuff. So we were having to really move magnets to and sort of adjust with that. You know, Haynes, I think, was out getting assessed. Gov was out, and Cowan, just before half time.
Yep.
So, no, I was. The more I look at that win, the more I look at and go, okay, that was a really strong showing from us. Given it's a St Kilda team that isn't bad. They're not a pushover.
They're not a pushover
in terms of the results that they've been able to get.
No, they have been able to show this year that they are a good team at their best.
I don't rate them.
I don't rate them as a finals contender, but they are not a pushover.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, off what they've been able to do prior to our game.
Agree.
Yeah.
Obviously, a significant night, Spuds game. I actually thought, as much as I don't like St Kilda as a football club, I think they have a terrible identity as a club and their history shows. But I think that what they do with that game is actually quite... I think the way they do it is nice. It's not too over the top. It obviously calls out a pretty concerning issue when it comes to especially men's mental health, which we don't talk about a lot. And I think, I thought it was a nice touch to start the game. I love Spud. You don't know. I don't know if you know this. I still listen to. You actually don't know this.
No.
On repeat, almost daily, I listen to old. There's a YouTube channel called the YouTube Rub. And it's old Saturday Rub clips from Triple M from like 10, 12, 13 years ago. Every day I listen to this playlist as like background noise while I'm working if I have to. And Spud was obviously a big part of that. They're a big reason why we do 360.
Yes.
Which I think I've told you guys in the past. Yeah. But I still listen to them daily. And I just think it's a nice little tribute to Spud. So, I thought they did that well.
Well, I think I'll be honest, our family's been affected by mental health. So being there for that game was important, but I think it actually should go across the round.
I think it should be.
I actually wouldn't mind seeing that.
I know that there's been calls for that.
I would
it should
like
be a men's mental health round, and I think if anyone at the AFL is listening, which they're probably not, I think pull the trigger because it is a cause worth getting behind. We've got a lot of causes that we get behind in the AFL and a lot of rounds for this and that, but I think if there's one that's important, clearly, there's been a couple that we've lost this year as well in the football world. Couldn't tell you names for the life of me, but I do remember that there were a couple. Troy Selwood was one. There were a couple pre-season that sort of sparked it again, and I think it's worth it. But anyway, it was a nice touch. But yes, in terms of the game itself, I think it was fitting. In terms of, I'm just going to skip towards the end here, and then we'll come back. But you look at how it ended. It couldn't have. If you're a scriptwriter at the AFL for that game, you can't script that any better. With Harry standing up, he looked like he during the game in the third quarter in particular, he had that shot from 15 out. He's getting boos. We had to get behind him to try and drown him out. He had that scrub kick from 50 in the third that just went absolutely nowhere. Set shot a goal. Last 2 minutes, you need someone to step up. H nails it, seals it, and I just think that's as fairy tale as it gets.
Did we celebrate that?
Oh yeah, we got up for that.
Yeah, we gave it a bit. Yeah. Hey, just quietly, the St Kilda supporters.
No.
Reassess yourself.
There's something in Italian we say there, un po' storto.
I'll be honest.
There's something a bit wrong.
I'll be honest. Like 20 minutes before the game, you could have heard a pin drop.
Yeah. Oh, the atmosphere that they create for their games is terrible. It is honestly terrible. Yeah.
No wonder they complain. I know we're going to talk about the game, but they complain that they can't land a big fish. Who the fuck would want to play there?
Yeah, well. Anyway. Yeah, I got nothing more to say about St Kilda. I love beating them. I really do. I love beating St Kilda. I think I can't stand them. All right, so yeah, look, going into the game, and if Jules was here tonight, I would have called him out on it. But there were a few people, including Jules, that had already made their mind up that we were too tall. At match selection, yeah. I'm gonna put my flag in the ground here, and I'll get your thoughts. Right? We are not a tall side with the way that we've been playing. We're actually not, because everyone looks at key position. They put Gov, and they put Haynes in that bracket. They don't play tall, do they?
No.
Gov's an interceptor. Gov and Haynes are an interceptor. Haynes more so than Gov.
Haynes is.
But Gov has pace. He actually takes the game on. He doesn't play one-on-one on a key forward unless we really need him to if they've got 3 keys, right? Down there. Outside of that, it's Sauce, Weeders, Harry, Charlie, Tom. Really, that's it. Louis played, I understand. You can't tell me he didn't do a good job. You can't tell me he hasn't done a good job all year when he's been called on.
I have to admit, I had question marks around him remaining in the side prior to the game. But again, when he's kicked, he kicked 2, no?
Kicked 2. Again.
Kicked 2.
Again, not for the first time this year. Again.
And given the way the game actually played out, we're lucky that he was there.
Scores are tied in Tassie, 71 apiece. 50 seconds to go. North Brisbane. Do you want to should we do a little live call here?
Nah, Joe. Don't worry about it.
I'm just going to watch
Don't do a live call.
There's 40 seconds. Anyway. Dad doesn't like I throw spatters in there. But when you talk about being too tall, how do you see it? Do you think on paper we look too tall, but in reality we aren't?
No, I think Jules, we'll just talk Jules. I think he comments on the back 6 looking too tall.
Looking too tall.
But
do they play tall?
No. But the thing is that look at our defensive profile.
Yep.
And look at it's working.
Yep.
So why change it? Why even question to change it? That's the one element of our game that has been resolute, no?
Would you say that our back 6 for many games are actually the reason that we've been able to stay in it for as long as we have?
We've kept most teams under 75, 80.
This is my point.
I don't think that's a question.
Why at match selection are we still, when teams are released on a Thursday, are people still making up their mind that we're too tall going into a game? I don't get it personally.
Joe, because people want to see a transition game.
Well,
this is why. People are obsessed with a transition game, and that's the way they see a team winning a flag. Carlton Football Club isn't that. So if we're keeping teams to a score of 70, 60, what do we keep saying to? 62 or something?
62.
Correct. Aren't you happy with that?
Funny that you bring that up, and North and the Lions actually just drew. That's game over. 71 apiece. Funny you bring up being a transition side. We kicked 77 points, right? Now, the AFL average from scoring from
is
the
this
back...
your Casano calcs?
Oh, I'm going to be Casano.
You're going to do it?
I've got a few.
Eat jerky while you're doing it.
From the back half, scoring from your back half, the AFL average is 19 points a game. It's only 3 goals. Yeah? It's only 3 goals scoring from your back half. People talk about it like it's... teams score 50, 60. Yeah. They don't every week. There'll be outliers, but most weeks it's 3 goals in a game come from your back half transition, right? When we talk about turnover, that also includes turnovers in the front half and territory game, which is what we've said is our one wood and that we have to keep going back to. Funny that you mentioned we're not a transition side, though, because against St Kilda, we scored 33 points from our back half.
Right.
So we scored almost double what the AFL average is. Going the other way and defending transition, which is what so many people have told me this year, it's the way it's not about the scores that we leak, it's the way that we leak goals. We kept St Kilda to 2 points from their back half. They are a side that has relied on their ball use coming out of the back half to score this year. 33 points to 2 coming out of the back half on Friday. I don't want to hear any more, we need more run and gun. We need to take the corridor more. We need to do this. We need to do that. We are doing what we need to out of the back half for a team that has a profile of pressure, contest, and territory. That's it. If we get more than that from the back half, bonus in any game. But where it needs to start and end is pressure, contest, and territory. I want you to talk about this because we've spoken about this. Ross Lyon put the clamps on us at stoppage. Yeah?
Yeah.
From basically end of the second quarter till about 5-10 minutes into the fourth.
Yeah, what happened
It was an arm wrestle.
Yeah, but
what I want,
scores are free flowing.
I want you to tell the viewers, because I think it's a brilliant point that you bring up more often than not outside the podcast, is what is it that will always get us back into the fight?
So I've always been saying that our clearance and our stoppage work and being able to dominate in that is what will win us games. And everyone has said Voss doesn't have a plan B.
Yep.
Yeah? And our plan A is it's too predictable. But when it's that dominant, your plan B should be to get back. How do you get back to plan A? That's essentially what football club needs
what
to
is
do.
it for us?
Get numbers around the stoppage.
So
Get numbers around the clearance.
what did you see that Ross did at stoppage in particular to slow that game down? Because it slowed down. It did.
So what I actually
In
spoke
the
to
first
you.
quarter, in the first quarter, there were 8 goals kicked. There were 20 goals kicked for the game. So there was only 12 goals kicked after quarter
Well,
time.
this is what happened. So I don't know if anyone realised, but within, I think it was half time, we'd kicked 8 goals. They'd kicked 4 by half time.
Something like that.
It was quite free flowing.
Yep.
Yeah. In the second half, how many did we kick?
We finished with 11. So we only kicked 3.
Correct. But even by the end of the third, we'd only kicked 1.
Yep.
So Ross actually got numbers around the contest and around the stoppage to be able to nullify that.
He played negative football.
Massively.
Like he always does.
And this is why I said, and I'm saying to you guys, that this win is actually huge because Ross Lyon's ability to negate teams to do what they do best is unbelievable. To be honest, he just doesn't have the cattle.
He doesn't.
And he coaches teams that don't know how to score. That's his problem.
Ross can get the best out of a really poor side. And St Kilda, under anyone else other than Ross Lyon, probably wouldn't be as competitive as what they are. That's a fact.
Jack Higgins, who would be a small forward in any other team, is their key forward.
And he's done that his whole career. Stephen
Correct.
Milne, Hayden Ballantyne.
That's right.
Jack Higgins. Under Ross, they were unbelievable players. Yeah.
All I'm saying is that the way Ross was able to identify that, because he knew that by stopping us in there, and to be honest as well, TDK, Marshall had him pocket.
From the majority of the game.
From a hit out perspective.
It's the 4th or 5th game this year.
What was his hit outs? Did he get
I think
beat
he
in the hit
had
outs?
36 or something.
Did he get beat though, or no?
We usually get beaten hit outs each week.
Because I actually think Marshall had the better of him.
No, we won the hit outs this week.
Really?
So 42 to 34.
Yeah, there you go.
And
From the eye.
and the clearances, and we won all of the stoppage numbers and the contested
I
numbers.
would have liked to have seen what it was like in the third when they had that patch.
Yeah, I can't get those numbers. But
No,
yeah.
I know, but I would have liked to have seen, if anyone knows what it was, but I would have liked to have seen what the dominance was, because that's when Voss actually had to change some things, or was forced to change some things to get on top there, because they were actually dominating us.
They were. And again, like I said before, this is what Ross Lyon does. To get the game back on his terms a lot of the time, he'll play very negative football. He'll employ very negative tactics in order to slow the game down, make it an arm wrestle, and wait till they get momentum. They actually succeeded in that, because I think they kicked 3 goals on the trot? 4 goals on the trot?
They did.
At one point?
Of course they did, yeah.
So they got it back. They actually did get it back on their terms, and it allowed them to get back into the game. The reason why I'm so impressed, and there's been a few comments tonight which I like to see about this, why I'm so
Just
impressed
quickly.
with Voss.
Well, Voss, you're going to say your point, but you know how you said about Ross Lyon slowing the game down? If you listen to Voss's presser, he actually mentions that and how he used that as an advantage.
Yep. Well, this is the thing. So this is why it didn't work against us, and it's what we speak about every week. We are a contest side. Ross only knows how to negate teams through getting numbers around the ball. He's done it for the majority of his career. You do that against Carlton, we're just going to go, we'll just put more numbers there as well, and we'll beat you. And it's exactly what Voss did. Voss saw it for what it was, and he needs full credit for this win as a coach. As a coach, I think that was his best coaching performance for a long time.
Agree.
He put even more numbers around the football to make sure that we came out winning the stoppage. He knows what our profile is. He knows what gets the game back on our terms. Second point to that, which you mentioned earlier very briefly, Cowan, Haynes, McGovern, Akers, all 4 of them go down in basically the second quarter. All 4 of them. Well, Gov went down a little bit earlier, but the other 3 went down within a 5-minute period in the second quarter going into halftime. We don't know if Haynes is concussed going into halftime. We don't know if Blake's shoulder's going to hold up. And Cowan we didn't even know about until basically
2 minutes in or something.
2 minutes into halftime. After halftime, I can't understate for a football side how much chaos that can throw into the mix at that point in the game. You don't know if you're going to have 1 on the bench. You don't know if you're going to have 4, 3. You don't know what your interchange rotations are going to look like. All of a sudden, you've got to take all of that into account. He puts Young back behind the ball. He puts Chera behind the ball, and he stuck with it all game because he had to. He saw that it is what it is. They're the moves we've got to make. Both of them worked.
Yeah.
Chera was mopping everything up that he needed to behind the ball, and he was clean for the most part. Young, Didn't put a foot wrong, whether he was forward or back behind the ball. You have to give full credit to Voss for that coaching
And I
performance.
criticised him last week, Voss.
Yep.
Because against Adelaide, he didn't. He didn't get numbers around the ball. And this is what I'm saying is getting it back and your plan B, if we're getting smashed in there, is working out how do you dominate stoppage and clearance? How do you win the contested ball? Because then we're going to gain territory. And everyone can see that if we can keep a team, okay, in our forward half or in our, especially our forward 50,
territory.
we can defend that, and it's coming straight back in.
It is, but the repeat entries are crazy.
I have no issue.
This is what was frustrating me at the start of the year, because I could kind of understand the message that Voss was trying to give in the press conferences. People would say, "Oh, the forward 50 entries, they're not good enough." You've got to look at it within the context of how many forward 50 entries we're getting and how we're getting them. They're
but they
entry.
weren't.
They weren't. I understand.
Joe.
We've cleaned them up.
Even against St Kilda,
we've cleaned them up. But the point still stands. If you're getting 67 inside 50s a game, 60 inside 50s a game, you're going to create more opportunities to score than not. And it's not only that, you keep the ball locked in.
I'll tell you something.
And it takes that ability away from the opposition.
In our next game against Sydney, go and watch how much better our entries are from stoppage.
In Sydney or St Kilda?
Against Sydney the following next week.
Oh yeah.
Next week, because obviously that's who we've got next. Go and watch, and even if you want to go back to the St Kilda game, go and look at how much cleaner our entries are forward to centre from stoppage.
You'd hope so.
No, they are.
Yeah.
Much better, because I've been looking.
I mean, you look at the last goal of the game, that passage of play, it was controlled in the last 2 minutes when it needed to be. Will White gets the ball on the 50, rather than blazing away and putting it to the top of the square or trying to go for goal, trying to do something stupid, little chip kick to Harry. Ends up being the sealer. Like, these things are starting to progress. Yes, Adelaide was deplorable. It was terrible. Like I said last week, I wasn't shocked. I told you before the game we were going to get absolutely smashed. We just don't match up well against them. I genuinely think that's a mulligan. We've won 4 of our last 5, and we've looked good for the majority of that. I know it's against West Coast North, poor opposition, but we fucking looked good against Geelong.
Yeah.
And the win against Sydney's just Sydney against St Kilda is just as impressive. You can't tell me otherwise. You just can't.
Yeah.
So it's impressive. Now, the other one I want to talk about is amidst all that injury chaos. And this is where you come in big time. I want you to talk about this because we've spoken about it.
You're loving me today.
No, because the points...
You have to love me.
No
Jules.
Yeah, no Jules. But the points that I'm making feed into what I know your narrative has been, whether it be on the podcast or outside the podcast for the majority of the year. This one, you're going to tear it to shreds.
Yeah.
We had injuries. Akers with a shoulder. Haynes came on, might have been a bit groggy, who knows. Cowan's obviously out. McGovern's out. Right? We've got basically 3 on the bench for the rest of the game from halftime onwards. We only used 61 of our 75 interchanges and we ran the game out. For anyone that still wants to doubt that we're not a fit side, please give me an example, because I'm seeing that we are running out games like we've never run out games before. And that is in a game that would have been very, very fatiguing on those bodies with the way it was played.
For sure. The person that actually shows the S&C department, I think at the moment, now you're going to see how successful the program is. How many months are we now into it? Roughly.
Ines was appointed, November, October last
6?
year? Yeah.
Close to?
Call about 6.
Okay. From 6 months on, that's when you can start judging, I feel, the current
of course
high performance.
Takes time, yeah.
So Walsh and the way we've actually managed him by making the call. I said this very early in the season, that Walsh missing the block of preseason and delaying it. Look at how the guy's moving now. I'm sorry. Did you see his burst?
Oh yeah.
And even that Walsh-esque passage of play to set up. Who was it? H.
Yep. It was.
Who was it?
Will White kicked from the goal square when he kicked it from the goal square.
That's good management.
Yep.
Because now you're going to hopefully get the best out of Walsh.
So Walsh he
he
played 100 minutes out of 123, which is huge numbers for him for this year. Because he was playing 67% game time against the Dogs. When everyone was criticising our S&C at that point, that we couldn't run out games.
Joe, it's what I said earlier. You don't get match fitness from pre-season.
Yep.
You have to give it 2 or 3 games to actually then start to get proper match fitness.
Agree.
So no team. All right, you might see a little bit of a difference given the fact of. I think for us, we looked a lot worse given how poor our condition was prior to pre-season. But we are fit.
We're fit.
We are fit.
No one can tell me otherwise. We are fit.
We're fine.
The Adelaide game wasn't a matter of fitness. That was a matter of effort. That was a matter of application. They just didn't want to be there. Simple.
I'll tell you what's going to help us now and what's going to be a big, because we've got a big run of games now,
Yep.
is continuity and availability. Because you saw JSOS coming in.
Huge.
And being back.
I want to talk about...
I actually think if he didn't play, we'd be fucked.
I want to get
That's
to...
how big. That's how big
Can I
he
close,
was down
Can
there.
I just close out Walsh, right? So I'm going to give you some numbers. Yeah? Look at his heat map first. What's that show?
Ridiculous. He's everywhere.
No. What does that show? Where is
He's
hotspots?
working the wings, yeah.
Wings. Outside of the contest, right? As I've said so many times, he's an outside player. He won a Gary Ayres medal playing on the outside. He's won fucking whatever. He's an outside. We all know he's an outside player. He's an uncontested player. He's a running machine. He's had 63% of his possessions in the offensive half, so forward of centre.
Huge.
Fantastic. For a guy that, when he gets time and space, can actually use the ball. He's had 14 uncontested possessions in his 21. 2 direct goal assists. 9 score involvements.
Massive.
From 21 touches. You can't have more impact than that. On top of that...
And pretty much full game.
Almost a full game.
Correct.
Only 3 clearances.
Yeah, we don't need him there.
Still laid 6 tackles. Had 5 inside 50s. So anyone that wants to tell me that we need Walsh in and under because we need him for our clearance game and this and that, you don't. You need him on the outside of stoppage. You need him receiving the ball, not extracting or rushing kicks and these dumb kicks that go absolutely nowhere like we've seen him do when he's under pressure. That's not him. You want the best of Sam Walsh? We've seen what the best of Sam Walsh is now. They have to stick with that.
Yeah, but now his body will allow him to do it as well.
Of course.
That's a big thing.
But also, not only that, this type of game, this uncontested game, that's going to hold his body in better check.
Oh, for sure.
It
He was getting
to.
battered. He was
Come
getting
on,
battered.
man. Seriously.
He's being an in and under midfielder, he was getting absolutely battered.
We've got enough inside mids. We don't need to rely on Walsh going in and under or inside the stoppage. He can wait on the outside, receive and go. He is a running machine. Use him as a running machine. Go for Sauce.
No, I was just saying that continuity and in terms of availability is going to be massive.
Yep.
That back 6 is set. I hope Gov is available. I really do.
Yeah, I think they were just monitoring him overnight, so he might get up. I don't know.
I hope so because it's going to be really important.
It will be important.
It will be, especially with the opposition that we're going to be facing.
Yeah.
But Haynes and Sauce, the games that they both had against the Saints, I reckon I could only pick one poor moment from Sauce was the on the full.
Oh, yeah. Just
Otherwise,
poor execution.
Unbelievable.
Didn't put a foot wrong.
Same as Nick Haynes.
Nick
Weeders
Haynes.
made an interesting comment very early in the season.
Heard about it.
And he goes, and he sung Haynes' praises by saying that he was really excited to play alongside of him.
I think Voss also said something in the presser about when I think it was Voss, he said, it was someone, and I'm paraphrasing, but someone said when Jacob Wiedering says that they've got full trust in Nick Haynes. Prior to the game. You
listen. Yeah,
you listen.
Yeah,
correct. Sorry, he's an Australian defender for the Giants. You don't lose that. As a professional athlete, if you have been able to get to that level, you don't lose that ability to do it again. Everyone jumped on him after round 1, except for. And you can go back and you can watch the preseason episode that I did with Jules prior to Richmond, where I said Nick Haynes will be top 5 in the BNF, and he still might be top 5 in the BNF. He's on track. He's on track to have a huge year now. He had, I think between him and Sauce, they had 11 intercept marks. He had 7 again this week after he had 9 2 weeks ago against Geelong. Come on, man.
His ability to read the play is unbelievable.
He is class.
Yeah.
How many times have we spoken about on this podcast, and how many times have I heard supporters say, we need to bring in experience. You need to bring in premiership experience. You need to bring in players that can teach a young crop and teach us how to win. We actually did it, and we jumped off him after one game as a fan base. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Enough's enough. You've got to just stick with this team. The week-to-week, fucking roller coaster that we go on is just of emotion is just insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I do have to say, though...
Sauce has been a revelation, though. I think he's been, again, one, not that it's about me, but it's one that I said last year that maybe we should throw Silvani behind the ball because we need a key defender. It's in his blood. Look at the fruits of our labour now. Like, clearly, he just knows what to do back there. That's not even barely a full preseason with that group for him. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So then we look at our forward half, and if you have H and Charlie doing what they're doing,
Well, yeah.
you're a threat.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're a serious threat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. And H's response to score after that bad miss, you would say, shows character.
Yep.
I want to ask you, because I know you've got an opinion on one individual. I want to ask you about the Smalls.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll get his stats up now.
Yeah, get it going. No, I'm not just gonna target Motlop.
No, I'm not either.
No, I know you're actually going to praise him.
I know this is why you're going to.
I just want to know, do you expect a lot more output from our Smalls? Because to be honest,
I think on Friday, yeah, it would have been nice.
Just talk about Friday.
Yeah.
Don't give me anything else bar Friday, because I know you can go on tangents.
No, but you look at Geelong and they did what they needed to do.
I understand.
Yeah.
But at the moment, out of Durden, White, and Motlop, who would you say is the best performing? Dirds.
Yeah. Will White,
White
not far
very
behind.
close.
Not far behind.
I would say White's
and then if you
very
put
close.
Fogarty in there, Fogarty's probably top of the pile just based on his volume of work over the last couple of years as a small.
So I feel, apart from decision making at times with ball in hand and overuse of the footy, I think our Smalls still aren't giving us enough.
In terms of what, though?
In terms of score?
Yeah, scoring, I can
In terms of score.
Okay. So, I'll put it this way.
You give me whatever you've got, but I'm just looking at pure, because at the end of the day, Charlie and Harry can do whatever they want around the ground, but if they're not kicking 2 or 3, like, you're not happy with what they're doing. Surely. You can't be happy if Charlie and Harry are only kicking 1 goal apiece.
So
I'm not expecting our Smalls to kick 3 or 4, but I'm expecting a lot more output.
Okay.
Because every team has a small that does.
So,
No?
yep. So, why do you think Charlie and Harry were able to kick 3 each?
You're saying through them.
Running patterns around them, creating space.
I understand.
Being a small forward is a very, very selfless role sometimes. It just is. Sometimes they're going to look like freaks, and it depends how you run your offense, right? We're not running our offense through Smalls. We're running them through Charlie and Harry. Simple. We've got 2 spearheads that we've got to utilise, right? Hawthorn are different. You got Nick Watson, he's a freak. You're gonna run your offense
Yeah, but
through him.
what if they are nullified?
No,
What if
no,
Harry and Charlie are nullified?
that's
Who
when-
steps up?
That's when the Smalls will step up more often than not. They have to. But it's a very selfless role a lot of the time. Through running patterns, through being a high half forward, having to push up the ground and then not being there to score. Like, you're not necessarily involved in that scoring chain. You may be just creating space, all that sort of stuff. Trust me, it's a selfless role. They've spoken about it many times, right? But I'll give you these stats. Evans, Motlop and Durden between them laid 13 tackles.
Huge.
It's an average of 4, just over 4 each. If they're doing that every game, they're giving enough output from a defensive standpoint, forward of centre. I haven't even put Will White in there.
I'd arguably, I'd question.
Will White made 2 tackles.
How many Motlop have? How
He
many
had
tackles? I'd question all
right.
5 of those tackles.
Okay. Anyway,
I would
forget
heavily
that.
question.
Forget that. We also had 18 tackles inside 50.
Okay, I understand.
So we also had 18 tackles inside 50, right? So, okay, they didn't necessarily hit the scoreboard. I think Will White kicked 1, right? I don't think that any of them, the rest of them, none of them hit the scoreboard outside of White.
No, that's what I'm
Right.
saying. That's
So-
why I'm asking you the question.
But
because
I believe they played their role on Friday to be able to open up space for Harry and Charlie to combine for 6.
if we lost the game because St Kilda had 3 or 4 chances that they could have really narrowed the margin there, what would we be questioning that?
Of course. No, you would. Of course you would. Of course you would. But I think overall, and this is what I'm trying to do a bit more this year, is just to keep perspective, not go week to week or moment to moment or result to result and go, oh, well, this is bullshit. They have to score. They don't. They don't necessarily. There would be other reasons outside of them not hitting the scoreboard why we would have lost that game. No, it would have been.
Depth is a reason.
Well,
depth is a reason, Joe, as to why some of these players play.
Yeah.
Because we're lacking depth.
I agree with that. We've spoken about that this year.
That's right.
Times. Yeah, I do believe
that's
we
a
still
big
lack
reason
depth.
as to why a lot of these players are still on the park.
Newman, Jagger Smith, And now you got Cottrell, Williams. Like, you've got basically almost 6 of our top 25 that are out at the moment.
But this is what I'm saying. This is why continuity and availability is massive,
That's
because
huge.
we don't have the depth.
It's huge. And you still got Fantasia. You've still got Chincotta coming back. Like, there's role players there that aren't even available, right?
You know, Akers is another one. Akers was terrible on the on Friday night.
He's looked out of sorts this year, to be fair.
But he plays next week.
He does. And
Correct.
to be honest, and this is where I'll bring up Motlop again, right? Late in the game, Akers stood up. There were 2 or 3 contests that he had to win and be clean, and he was, right? At the end of the day, if he's not clean in those moments, we might lose. The ball goes up the other end, they score. He stood up in those moments that we needed him to.
I know. I get
It doesn't
the
necessarily
argument.
justify the other 3 quarters
Correct.
that were average.
What
It
if we're
doesn't.
down by 20 and there's those and that's shit 3 quarters?
Doesn't justify the 3 quarters prior to that,
Yeah.
but he played with a bung shoulder, and he come good. And he actually impacted late in the game.
Shoulder's been bung for 5 years.
This is the one that wasn't straight.
I understand what you're trying to say. I'm just.
So he's still played a role regardless how poorly he's played. This is the other thing. Why do we all get so hung up on expectation that it has to be perfect from every player every week? It's not going to be. It's sport. That's not how it goes. If sport was like that, this would be so easy because we'd win every game by 10 goals. It's true. It's not. It's just not reality.
Yeah, but when there's no pressure on selection.
Do you reckon there wasn't pressure on selection?
I don't think Akers' spot is.
Who's coming in? You want Doc to come
That's what
in?
I'm trying to say
Yeah,
to you.
but this is the point. He has to play, so don't worry about that. The point I'm trying to make is that regardless of these comments around his shit, he's out of touch, outside of a couple that probably needed to be omitted, you've still got to look at certain moments and go, no, he stepped up. He actually impacted the result, Akers. You look at the last goal from Harry, I think the passage prior to that, Akers was massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
Motlop was huge.
Motlop.
Yeah.
6 touches. So you look at his stat sheet. 6 touches, hasn't kicked a goal. He's only got 3 score involvements, 1 goal assist, right? Go back and watch the game. Right? Now, he did not have the best game of all of them. He was probably bottom 5 or 6 on the park. But late in the game, last 5 minutes coming out of D50, he's hit 2 targets to slow the game down and executed by foot. Every other week, we're crying out for better execution and better skills by foot. So he does it in 2 moments where it's required, and it actually allows us to keep the game on our terms. Again, he's got a lot to work on. He's playing even more of a selfless role than a Durden, a White, a Fogarty, and Evans because he's not even playing as a small forward. We've said this. He's playing as he's up at stoppage. Like this is like, how critical can you be if you're not looking at the total picture for Motlop?
Like,
it's a tough role.
Yeah, but you also can't be too accepting of.
I'm not accepting of it.
You can't be too accepting of poor standards either or poor performance.
I'm not accepting of it.
Because we've been like that in the past. Every Carlton supporter's been like that in the past.
I think if Fogarty was available,
Dow, everyone's like, oh, he has 2 good kicks and he's like,
I
he's
think
back.
if Fogarty was available, Motlop wouldn't have played.
Correct.
He wouldn't have played, right? So again, back to your point, we don't have the depth at the moment. We've got a few that are on the injury list. You just got to push through. And I'm sorry, those players that have been whipping boys, they push through. Whether it be through injury or whether it be through a poor patch of form throughout that game or across the season, Akers and Motlop stepped up in big moments. They just did.
In this game, yes.
Yeah, in this game.
In this game, yes.
I'm keeping it within the context.
That's right.
Of this game.
Keep it within the context of the game.
Yeah.
I always just look to, if we want to be serious as a contender, it's not acceptable for just moments.
Speaking of tackling,
Do you agree?
I agree. Speaking of tackling, we talk about pressure, contest territory. I'm going to say it every week, right? The AFL average for tackle efficiency. So that is the percentage of tackles that you lay versus the tackles attempted, right? So you might attempt 100 tackles. The AFL average says you'll probably lay 67 of them.
Yeah.
So around 33% are slipped each game, right? We laid 69 of 79 tackles against St Kilda. That's an efficiency of 87%.
Yeah, huge.
If we and our midfield in particular get that right every single week, right, and we perform above the average, we are going to be very hard to beat. That is our profile right there. Stick tackles, make it hard for the opposition to get on a run, make it hard for the opposition around contest and stoppage. You're not going to get away from
anything
us.
forward to D50.
That's it.
Simple
That's
as that.
2 more players I want to quickly talk about. Charlie. He has been genuinely brilliant since that Hawthorn game.
His last
I think.
month.
Yeah.
His last month.
But
for
no,
me.
since that Hawthorn game. The Hawthorn game, obviously, he wasn't looking great in round 2. But since round 3 onwards, he has looked unbelievable. Do you agree?
I'd mentioned it to you. I said it to you during the game.
Yeah.
During the game, I'd said Charlie's on a heater at the moment but it's even the passion in which he celebrates. Like that. That's how you know he's in the zone, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Like you see him when he kicks that goal, and he's fired up, and that's how you know they're on.
Yep.
I think, and we all know this.
Do you agree that Charlie set the game up for us on Friday in the first half?
I believe that Charlie playing high up the ground needs to happen.
Yeah, of course.
We know this, but Harry being able to play and
it has to stay on the park.
It has to stay on
Both
the
of them
park.
have to stay on the park now together for the rest of the year.
Yes.
We need every single game out of both of them now. Yeah, so that they can become more cohesive.
Like I don't think they need to develop something.
No.
I think it's already there.
Yeah, that's it.
We just need availability, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And more from H. It's more from H because it's with what he's dealing with. It's very what's the word?
It's sensitive.
No, not sensitive. It's inconsistent. Not inconsistent. Like it could be inconsistent. He could be good one week and then bad for the next 2.
But
you don't know.
In the two out of 3 games,
what he's dealing with.
2 out of 3 games since he's been back, Geelong, Adelaide, Saints,
He's been unreal.
He's almost been best on.
Yeah.
Really, at the end of the day. Adelaide, I don't blame him because the delivery inside 450 was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
What do you expect him to do in that game, right? But I think, back to Charlie, he set that game up for us in the first half based on how he was able to negate Cal Wilkie. He's a good defender, man. He kicked through on him in the first half. So I think Charlie rattled him a little bit. I think it got us going. It got us out to that 4-goal lead. And without that 4-goal lead, under that injury pressure that came very quickly, probably would have crumbled.
Well, we're belting him in inside 50s early and we're belting him even on the scoreboard. But also, they were kicking straight.
They were.
That kept them into it.
I can't believe. How many times do we
I think it was 7 goals won at
How
one
many
stage.
times do we come up against teams that just kick straight,
Yeah, it was
that
a
keep
joke.
them in it? It's just ridiculous. Even Geelong kicked 12 goals,
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
Like, anyway, last one that I want to talk about, and Gav Whelan has mentioned him here in the comments. Elijah Hollands.
Sauce boy.
You go.
Nah, he's this guy. I spoke about. I wish Jules was here because Jules actually loves him.
Yeah.
Like
Jules
loves
was
him.
off him, and then he got back on.
Yeah, Jules does that. Jules goes on and off like that, but he's on him now.
Yeah, he's back on.
This guy's brain and his IQ is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Give him the ball as much as you can, forward to centre, to be able to hit
make good
targets
decisions.
inside 50 because his decision making is great. There was a passage of play on the wing. Do you remember that handball?
Yep. Late in the game,
was-
to Will White. It was the one
yeah,
over the top.
that one over the
and
top.
that went to Harry.
A lot of players would have panicked,
Yep.
either gone inboard or backwards, and he's been able to identify a teammate free
Yeah.
in Will White,
Yeah.
and that's just smart.
Yeah.
That's footy smarts.
Yeah, Elijah, he just needs to build from here. He needs to build. You know, it's not just with ball in hand. He's actually pretty good defensively if you watch him.
Yeah,
He puts himself in the right areas in order to impact both ways, and it's not more so from his work rate. It's just from his footy smarts. Like, he's a smart player. He's a really smart footballer. He's a footballer. He's not an athlete. He's a footballer. Much like George Hewitt is. He's a footballer. Much like...
George Hewitt's could be up there in the Brownlow.
Well, yeah, he had another... Oh, he didn't have a super impact.
No,
in
we were
this game.
speaking about this actually, and we said, because we saw Sportsbet that George Hewitt was paying $6.
$6.
Calls
No,
me up.
$6 for our most votes.
For our most votes, sorry.
Yeah.
And Joe and I were talking about this, and we started blowing about Hewitt. And we had said the thing for him that puts him at a disadvantage was his best games came at a loss,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah.
He's still obviously performing really well.
Yeah.
But those most noticeable games,
They're coming in losses. Up
Yeah.
until the last month.
This is for the actual Brownlow,
yeah,
not ours.
but he still
Yeah.
played... No, but it's our votes in the Brownlow. So it's...
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, okay,
So,
yeah.
but like, North, West Coast, Geelong, he's going to get votes. I think he's probably going to be close to 2s and 3s in those games.
Geelong, yes.
Yeah, and North and West
yeah,
Coast.
yeah, yeah.
He mauled them. So, anyway, he'll be up there.
How
Last
good
one...
does, just quickly,
Actually, I'll talk
on
about
George.
this in the
how
preview.
good's he moving?
Yeah,
You
he
want to
moved-
talk about
He's had the back
fitness
issues,
and
yeah.
agility, and him having his troubles in the last couple of years. I'm sorry, this guy here doesn't look like he's labouring at all.
Hey,
So
we've got players that have been on the shelf on and off for the last 4 years that are
your
now fit
best
and firing.
ability,
is availability. And I see one change in the football department in the last 6 months? And all of a sudden, we're a fit football team that are running our games with using 61 interchanges.
Shit.
Fuck me. What a waste of fucking time, honestly. Anyway, give me Livy.
Hey everybody, it's Livy with Livy's last words, and this is what I thought about the game. Absolutely amazing to get the win by 15 points against St Kilda after obviously losing last week. You know, in the final term, Mackay kicking that goal, sealing it, the win was amazing. Absolutely amazing. What a goal as well. But anyways, yeah, we had a lot of injuries, but it was okay. Mackay, just an outstanding game. Had 19 disposals and 10 marks. Definitely best on ground. Paddy played pretty well, was pretty good as well. He had 26 disposals, which was very good. Tom de Koning, absolutely amazing again. He's always just absolutely amazing. But it was very good to get the win. It wasn't easy, but it was definitely an amazing game, and I'm so proud of the boys. It was good to see Kerno kicking 3 goals and Mackay and Kerno playing together. They definitely helped us a lot in the forward line. Hopefully, McGovern and Cowan will be okay. But next week we are versing Sydney Swans. I reckon we will win that. I just have a feeling we'll win that. We're on 9th on the ladder, which we're getting up to the top 8, which is good. But anyways, this is what I thought about the game. Go the Blues!
She's a happy girl at the moment, Livy.
Up and about, Livy is.
Have you spoken to her?
I spoke to her last week. She's full immersed in her soccer. She's actually captain of a soccer team. You know?
Yeah, no, Danny has told me. She's goalkeeper.
Why'd you do that?
She's goalkeeper.
Goalkeeper.
And she's playing state as well.
Yeah, she's got leadership qualities.
She's got massive hands, Livy.
She's got huge hands.
She's actually got huge, like really long
she
fingers.
does.
Yeah. I have not seen this bloke in a chat for a long time. Lazy Conqueror.
Oh, no way.
Any chance of Pov predicts making a comeback this weekend? I had a good night on the tables yesterday.
Wow. Mr. Conqueror.
Welcome back.
Me and Joel have been doing all right on
It's
the
actually,
punt.
no, I haven't.
No, we won a couple multis.
Nah, that was fucking a month ago. I haven't touched it.
I've been gone good.
Yeah, well, that's up to you. Lazy, welcome back. It's been a while. Yeah, Sydney preview. Fuck, I lost my.
I was going to say, Pov predicts can't come back. I lost people that much money.
No,
a joke.
no. We're not doing that again. Sydney. So Friday night, SCG, 7:40 p.m. They're 14th. We're 10th. We're actually 10th. We win this game, we're probably in the 8. Going into the Giants
No,
and then
we'll,
going into the bye.
we will.
Yeah, I think we are, right?
I think we will. We're not now, but I think with who plays who, what's our percentage?
So hold on. So do any of those teams play each other next week? The Dogs and Essendon play each other next week. They're 6th and 9th. I don't think it's guaranteed, but we'll be close.
Adelaide and Collingwood.
And then we've got the Giants the week after. This is a massive 2 weeks. This is huge. So the win against the Saints makes this now even bigger. So a loss would have made it big in terms of do or die. What this now sets up against Sydney and then the Giants is the ability to get our season back on track well and truly. And when I say back on track, I'm talking competing properly with the way that we're playing football at the moment, right? But we've got to beat Sydney on Friday. And it has to be a controlled win. I'm not going to say it's got to be 10 goals. I'm not going to say it's going to be it's going to be tight.
A blowout.
All I'm saying is we've got to control that game from start to finish. The way that we fucking play. Not playing to them, they play into us. Like St Kilda tried to make us play into their negative football. We've got it back on our terms. There's going to be times that Sydney are going to come because they're a professional side. Right now, they're not very good, but they will come at us, and there's going to be times where we're going to have to arm wrestle it back on our terms to keep them at arm's length. That's what this has to be on Friday.
Yeah, that's what's going to be interesting to see is that there's going to be momentum shifts. You want to see how damaging theirs will be to us essentially and how quickly we can bring it back on our terms. Okay? At the SCG, it's hard.
It's hard.
It's very hard.
Hey, that's their ground.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they play good footy. I more importantly, obviously we mentioned and you said the midfield and their dominance is important. Our pressure around the footy, especially high up the ground, needs to be because their movement from the back half
is bad.
Yeah.
It's actually bad if you put pressure on.
No, if you put pressure.
Yeah.
But if you don't, they'll hurt you.
Blakey, Roberts, Bice.
Correct. That's what I was trying to say. They've got players that can use the footy.
But
this is why higher up the ground with our
I actually misunderstood what you said, but I understand what you're saying now. Yeah, go.
With our smalls and with our pressure from our midfield,
I understand.
It needs to be
We
on.
have to keep the ball in our front half.
We have to.
Yeah. I agree with that. I actually watched the Essendon game, the Essendon-Sydney game. Essendon are so bad that they almost bottled it from a position where I just thought this is unlosable with the way that they controlled that game, right? The only reason Sydney were allowed back in that game is because Essendon dropped off. Literally. Essendon peppered them in the first half, and it was all from front half turnover, front half territory, front half contest, front half whatever you want to call it. Essendon didn't get them on the counter.
No.
Essendon controlled the game. They controlled possession of the football. We have to do the same. And it's got to be start to fucking finish. Sydney will come. They will get on a run. They will. But it's got to be up to our group to be able to put the clamps back on them, make it an arm wrestle for a quarter, whatever it may be, and then get back on top.
Yeah. With Cox as coach, do you feel that they're still trying to find their new identity?
Of course.
And this is where we can really take advantage of that.
Of course. No,
Okay.
He's not just going to take over from Horse and then all of a sudden they're the same outfit.
No.
He's got his own philosophies and
That's
whatnot
right.
that he's going to try and instill.
And then we need to take advantage of
It's
that.
going to take him time. I've got no doubt that Sydney next year are going to be a force. I actually think they're going to be very, very good next year because they're just
They're
that
missing
club.
some pieces though.
Nah, but they're just that sort of club. Gordon will come back towards the back end of this year and get a preseason into him again. They're just that sort of club that they're professional enough, they've done it for long enough that they will stand up and they will come back. But right now, they're vulnerable. They're very, very gettable. This is a gettable game.
Yeah.
It just is. And we have to treat it that way.
I messaged you, and I think I messaged Jules as well, that we will win this game.
I agree.
I am confident we will win this game.
I agree.
With the football we've been
I
playing.
genuinely agree.
And-
If we play our brand and execute.
Joe, selection and availability.
I want to see who's favourite.
I think we are.
They are.
They are.
Yeah.
It's because it's at home.
Yeah.
It's because it's at home.
I just don't know. I can't see it.
What's Carlton playing?
We're paying $2.24.
How much?
$2.24.
Conqueror, put that in your multi.
Get them responsibly. Selection.
Yeah. All right. What do we think?
Well, who's available?
Well, I think we need to wait because there could be a few. Like honestly, why are
So
laughing?
you go selection.
No, I'm saying
you go. Well, I
no,
think we need to wait.
in terms of who's going to be available.
Let me check
It's massive.
let me
What
check.
if Gov, Cowan, and
Oh, you're saying from the St Kilda game?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Let me check the injury list at the moment, which would have been updated prior to this round.
Can you see how far my hand's going to speak to you for me because I've got room?
Yeah, I know. Chincotta was a week, so he could be a test to come in if we need him. Wouldn't mind him on Warner.
Does he come straight in?
Wouldn't mind him on Warner.
Does he come straight in?
Wouldn't mind him on Warner as a tag. Not the worst idea. Fantasia was already TBC with that calf, so he might be a test if we need to bring him in as well. Cotters is out. And that's it.
I'll be very surprised if Fantasia and
Oh, and then obviously, yeah, so Haynes will play because he played.
yeah,
Akers may not, depending on the shoulder. Apparently, it popped completely.
oh, you saw
it was hanging
of course
out.
it was. Yeah.
So he may or may not play. Cowan, hamstring tightness gives me some confidence he might play. But if not, you bring Carroll or
He
Boyd
won't.
in. Doesn't
It'll
matter.
be a week.
Doc had 37 in the VFL.
Needs to do it more.
Well, yeah, 37.
Not more, but like I think it needs. I'll be very shocked if Fantasia or Sink come straight in.
Well, yeah. You'd expect, based on how this fitness program has gone, that they won't.
They wouldn't do it. No.
Yeah.
I'll be shocked.
There was a, just speaking of the VFL, so Doc had 37, 10 rebound 50s. I think he was playing from the back half, which I like, to be honest. Ben Campo had 33. His best game in the VFL. Billy Wilson
We won?
racked up 27.
We
We did
won.
win. Jordan Boyd had 28, 22 kicks. He had 5 intercepts. I didn't watch the game, so I can't tell you how they looked, but based on numbers alone, they're pretty good from a few of our AFL boys.
Bins. Do we speak
yeah,
about
we did speak
Binns?
about Binns. He obviously keeps his spot.
We have to speak about Binns.
Yeah, he keeps his
Yeah.
spot. Lord, he keeps his
Yeah.
spot. I think play Lord. Don't play him as a sub. Play him. He's earned it now. He basically kicked the winner in the end. That was a huge moment.
Massive goal.
He was called upon to go into the midfield when Chera went back. So he had a lot of midfield minutes against the Saints, and he stepped up. I actually thought he played a really good game.
Yeah, it was quite good, yeah.
And then Binns, obviously, filling in for Cotters essentially at the moment. I thought he played that
Could have
role
had two.
well. He will be exposed. He will. I think he'll be exposed against the Swans because they're fast.
Yeah.
St Kilda's not fast. Like, the Swans can expose Binns with his speed. Fuck, he got done by Jack Steele.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
When he got his ankles broken
imagine
there.
that's Blakey.
Yeah.
See you later, man. So I think Binns I think he needs a month. I don't think you can bring these players in and then not give him a month. I think he needs a month.
That's what I'm saying.
And you stick by it.
I don't think we can have this mentality or this philosophy of bringing him in and then getting rid of him the week after.
Yeah.
They need to play a good bulk of games
Agree.
to actually develop.
Agree. Pito was apparently injured.
Was he?
Yeah, because he only had like 9 hitouts or something. He had 11 disposals and he had 9 hitouts for the game. I think he went off injured at some point. I think. Don't hold me to it.
Just
I was going to
keep
say maybe you bring him in as a second ruck, but maybe not this week.
You and Jules had a pretty fiery discussion of Tom. Just keep an eye on his defensive work.
Oh, fuck. Don't get me started.
Because against St Kilda, it was labouring.
Against Adelaide, he was walking in transition. Against St Kilda, he's walking in transition. Tom, mate.
Just keep an eye. We're not going to go into too much about it, but I definitely am going to look pretty closely at that.
I completely understand what Tom's strengths are. He can leap. He's athletic. His follow-up work at ground level is unbelievable around the stoppage. But, mate, he is a liability in so many areas that people just don't want to talk about. You get crucified for talking about Tom.
You can't sit next to Joe when it
Fuck
happens
me.
during the game. He's just
Because
like,
I'm watching him and I'm just going, mate, like, give me something here defensively.
Jules and Joe next to each other during the game.
Fuck. Anyway. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say about Sydney?
Nah, like, it's more on us.
Oh, I've got one. So, talking about our profile. I wanted to finish this with this. I know you like this during the week.
Okay. Oh, yeah, this is good.
Pressure.
I'll sit back at this.
Contest, territory. I was watching First Crack. I think it was First Crack. No, it was the show that Montagna and Kingy and that do after the Friday or Thursday game on Fox. I think it was after the Thursday game. It's 5 teams I'm going to give you. Brisbane, Collingwood, Gold Coast, Bulldogs, Adelaide. 5 teams that are in pretty good fucking nick at the moment. That you'd probably put as like almost top 5 in the comp outside of maybe a Hawthorn, right? But even Hawthorn's looking a bit shaky. Of those 5 teams, they are the top 5 in the comp for effective clearance differential. Not clearance differential, effective clearance differential, okay? Which essentially means not only have you got the clearance, you've retained possession and it's either resulted in a score or it's resulted in retaining the ball in your front half or in impactful areas, right? Top 5 teams for that stat. Tell me the game is about fucking transition again, please. When the top 5 teams in the comp at the moment are showing that where the game is won and lost, most importantly, is through your clearance work.
Go deeper.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
Go deeper.
So, we're actually number 2 for stoppage clearance differential around the ground. Okay, so we're number 2. So, essentially, we'll get on top of teams more often than not with first use around the ground. We're 15th in the comp for hitouts at 36 a game. 15th. So, what that's telling me is we're actually losing the hit out more often than not, but our mids or Tom's follow-up work is allowing us first use. Okay? I'm not even going to give you the stats. I'm going to just implore everyone. Go look at those stats for those 5 teams I just gave you and how that plays into their effective clearance game.
Go into the last 4 or 5 years of premiers and what they did.
What do you mean? I didn't.
Yeah, you went deeper.
I didn't
you
give you
did.
this.
You said the last 3 or 4 years, remember it was 60% if they do this, they make.
What was the stat?
Remember it was like 60% of teams if they do this, they make top 4. 80%.
No. It wasn't that. Oh, it was something about a win
It
rate.
was a belter. Yeah. How can you not have it prepared?
I can't remember that one. No, I can't remember that one.
Go into my segment. Bring it up next week.
There was something about
It was
if you
60 and
win-
80%.
Yeah, but it was win rate. It was like you win 60% at 60% of your games over the last 4 years.
If you do that, if it's efficiency.
Yeah, that's right. If you won the effective clearance in games.
Correct.
That's right. In 2025, if you're winning the effective clearance differential, you're winning 80% of your games. Yeah. Transition. Nah. We've got a football side that can excel in a pattern of the game that is clearly very, very beneficial,
Crucial.
very beneficial to 5 of the top 6 or 7 teams in the comp right now. Fucking sick of talking about it, honestly. Anyway, you go.
Keep calm. Count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10.
Not happy, Jen!
You're joking yourself. Not happy, Dan. Brought to you once again by Airzie Travel. Airzie, AIRZE, airzetravel.com. Go and get your neck pillows, which you've used very recently, and you
The more I put them
about
on,
it.
the more I put them on, like
The more
how comfortable is
gets.
it?
Yeah, it's very comfortable.
Like,
it is.
How come?
Mate, I'm leaving in 2 weeks. I can't wait to put this on the plane.
See, like this. Here.
They can't hear.
This is. It's not. What material is this?
That's like a.
It's like wool.
That's not wool.
It's not wool.
It's like a. Those.
We need to find
You know
out.
those couches where you can make like drawings on them. It's like that.
If this is a couch, you're sleeping for 3 days.
You are 100%. You
Yeah.
are. Yeah. Airzetravel.com. Go on.
I'm in position. Okay. Now, Joe,
Yep.
do you like chili scramble?
You know I do.
Fucking oath you do.
Oh, okay. So someone stuffed up your chili
Yeah.
scramble.
Ask. Oh, you know I like chili scramble.
Yep. From Barry.
Barry's, they're not open anymore.
No, they closed.
They closed.
Yeah,
Fuck.
I know. Anyway.
I actually went there to go and get like breakfast one of the times.
I don't know. What's
You
going
weren't home, so I'm like, fuck, I'll just go to Barry's.
See that? I wasn't home because Dan's first port of call for breakfast is Joe's house. Is it not?
Yeah, well, you asked me.
Oh, fuck off.
So, chili scramble, you like it? What's a good, what makes a good chili scramble?
The chili.
And bit of feta.
Oh, yeah, like the texture, you got the feta. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want from me here. You haven't prepped me
I
for
don't even
this.
know the name of this fucking cafe.
Where was it?
All right.
Where was it?
It was in Northcote.
Whereabouts?
Not going to reveal.
Nah, whereabouts?
It was on High Street.
Yeah, where? What's it near?
Fuck.
What's it near?
Guzmani Gomez.
Guzmani Gomez on High Street.
There is no, sorry, it's not High Street. It's you know where you go like for
Anyway, move on.
Anyway,
Go.
listen. Do you want to know what they had in it? You want to know what they had in the chili scramble?
Jimmy R says, Dan looks like he's pulling a Centrelink con job. Yeah. Works so.
They put, HSB sauce? HSP?
Yeah.
The sauce?
Yeah.
So actually, I got an echo from this into my ear. They put that like a garlic sauce.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, on the chili scramble. Oh,
No, Joe, it was bad. So I got it, and it looked like an omelette. And I said to the lady, I go, "Oh, this isn't mine. I ordered chili scramble." And she goes, "Yeah, this is it."
Oh.
And it had the garlic sauce like that over. Then it had the sweet chili or some shit. Hey, do you know what I did?
That made my guts turn.
Oh,
bloke.
it's making me a bit sick.
Give you Agitor.
No, I got a napkin and wiped it off. I had to.
Fair enough.
I couldn't eat it.
I probably would have done the same.
Not at 9 o'clock in the morning.
No,
even
not
if you
that
want to
much.
try and attempt
Not
to try
that much garlic. No way.
like that.
Yeah, no way. Fair enough.
Hey,
no, that's fair.
And you know me, I love my breakfast, and that fucked me off.
You do love your breakfast. Yeah. Is that it for this week? You can take that off now. You put it so tight. You look like you're choking yourself. Prediction for Sydney. Forgot.
Can't buy 12.
Yeah, you know what? I was going to say Carlton by 15. Yeah. I just think it's going to be that sort of game again. Not your best not happy, Dan, but anyway.
You say that
You've
every
been a little bit. I don't know.
I haven't been bad.
Down. Might put it in the feedback.
People
for next
like
week.
it.
I'll put it in the feedback. Speaking of, I know Gav likes.
How's that? I'm sorry. Every single time I do a not happy, Dan, you say shit.
Well, maybe take on the feedback.
What do you want?
Maybe take on the feedback.
Yeah, but these are things that I'm pissed off about. It's not you. I'm pissed off that a chili scramble that I had garlic sauce.
That's better.
And some other thing.
You got some fucking life about you.
Yeah, well, I got this around my neck.
Anyway, that's it for tonight. But next week, and I know Gavin Willen, who's in the chat, loves next week.
He loves
it every year. Next week is our 5th annual 360 feedback. We usually do it during the mid-season bye, but I'm going to be away, and I want to do it face-to-face before I leave. So we've pulled it forward. Jules, if you're watching, get your notes ready, because I can tell you, me and Dan are going to fucking hammer
I'll tell you now,
next week.
Jules. I'll tell you right now. I'm going as personal as you can possibly go. Okay?
It could get...
Last year, we said nothing personal, strictly podcast. I'm coming for you, buddy. Yeah, I'm coming.
I didn't say it was strictly podcast last year.
Yes, you did.
No, you thought it was. And then I brought out the personal shit. You go, what the fuck is this? Gavin Willen says, come to blows, bring the gloves. Yeah, bring your mouth guards next week. I reckon it could get very testy. I'm coming for you too.
Good, I don't care.
You need a bit of a reality check.
I know what's going to happen.
In a couple of areas,
assassinate my character.
you need a bit of a reality check in a couple of
Is
areas.
it about Dan?
It's just about you in general. Yeah, like I just need to hit you between the eyes proper.
Fair enough.
In front of a global audience.
That's fine.
Global.
Global.
We'll see you next week. Go Blues.
Go Blues.